kasama yung isa. So, 5 yung music. Good afternoon, everyone. We shall start in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think we should start already, and I can see that we are about 209 attendees now. Okay, so again, a pleasant afternoon and welcome to our CREBA webinar with our DENR LMB speaker. I will be introducing him shortly. This is a forum on land surveys titling Land Administration Reforms. Okay, so before we start, I would like Charmaine and her team to please proceed with the doxology invocation, followed by CREBA hymn. Thank you.
sa iyo. Kami akayin mo sa landas na wasto. Kung saan patungo sa
Bayang magiliw, pelas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiin. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhatit pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
The vastness of our native land looms a challenge we must face. How to build and shape a nation and provide each man with a dwelling place. It's a lifelong dream of every man to lay down his roots one day. Thus we strive to keep this vision. 'Tis the role we have to play. With the government to work with hand in hand, building and restoring hope throughout the land. Sheltering the future from the storm, we shall offer all our skills with open hand. All together with a vigor to pursue, and the expertise in making dreams come true. With the welfare of the people as our paramount concern, we shall show them we are builders through and through. Let the CREBA spirit shine through.
Yes, good afternoon. Let the CREBA spirit shine through. This is a CREBA hymn composed by our late chairman of the board, Manny Serrano. And every time I hear this song, and I think all of our members, we always remember him and thanking him for composing this particular CREBA hymn. Okay, at this point in time, before we go on further, I would like to recognize some of our officers who are online, just like all of us here. This is a webinar, of course. We would like to recognize our chairman of the board, Charlie Vigorayev. Mr. G, you're watching. Good afternoon. And, oh, there he is. Oh, gwapong-gwapo, oh. Sir, ang batang-batang tsura mo dyan. He is now in Batangas, correct, Chairman? Wala kang mute ka, Chairman.
Correct. Alam mo naman, magagaling ang phone dito.
Are you in Batangas right now?
Yes, in Batangas.
You are in your mansion.
No, not mansion, Kubo.
It's a big kubo, actually. Okay. So I will give you the floor later because you will be part of the open forum to be hosted by our Miss Joy Yumol, our Vice President for Chapter Affairs. Let me move on. Let me recognize our President, if he is here, President Noel Toti Carino. If you're watching, kasi alam mo, hating gabi ngayon sa US. So he might be watching or he might be already sleeping. So hello to you, Mr. President. Of course, our Vice President for Chapter Affairs, Ms. Joy Yumol, who will be hosting the second half of this program. Ms. Elsie Chua, our Executive Vice President, busy sa pagkakampaign. Alam mo na kung sino ang kanyang candidate. Also, our Vice President for International, Ms. Evangeline Iya. Hello to you. Let me greet also the team of our guest of honor and speaker, the team from DENR LMB. Hello to you. Good afternoon. Past President Corita Soliven. Hello, ma'am, madam. Past President Joseph Delig. Also from Pag-ibig, Gigi Roa. Hello. From CDO, Sid Protasio. From Soc Sergeant Chapter. From REBA, from PAREB. Okay. From our EdPrep students are also watching now. Members Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Good afternoon to all of you. Okay, so just stay put, and we will be tackling a lot of good issues regarding DENR LMB. Okay, so let me proceed now, Madam Ms. Charmaine, to introduce our guest of honor and speaker. Okay, our guest of honor and speaker is the Chief of the Land Policy and Planning Division of the Land Management Bureau, and concurrently the National Coordinator for the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program component of DENR, Department of Environment and Natural Resources. A land surveyor from 1989. Wow, tagal na. He spent 10 years of surveying practice in the field before handling key positions in the implementation of the Land Administration and Management Project, yung tinatawag nating LAMP, no, in the Philippines. From 2001 to 2014, he has gained extensive experience in the following areas of work. Kaya if you have questions later, please put them on the chat box or the Q&A so that our next moderator can, of course, tackle it with our guest of honor. Developing innovations on land administration and information, and delivery of land-related services such as land survey, titling, and registration. Policy management, he was also involved in project management, developing strategies for short and long-term land sector reforms, and working with the development and donor agencies, World Bank, Australian DFAT, and FAO. He prepared, take note, the policy on the adoption of land administration and management system, yung LAMS na tinatawag, no, for the DENR in 2010, which now serves as the backbone for all computerization initiatives in the land sector. He also devised a roadmap for the implementation of the Land Sector Development Framework called LSDF in the Philippines in 2013. His last attended a small group discussion of land experts in Germany, take note, last October 2018 for the preparation of a technical guide on spatial planning and tenure under the voluntary guidelines on responsible governance of tenure, VGGT. So he has extensive experiences on this kind of field. So ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our guest of honor and speaker, Henry Paces Bill. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon po. Good afternoon to everyone. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Clearly, sir, clearly.
Yes.
We can hear you.
Thank you. Of course, good afternoon to Chairman Gorayev. Sir, nice to see you again. And to the officers of CREBA. I understand nationwide po yung participants natin. So we have our regional president, something like that. Kami po sa GEP meron din eh. So good to be a part of you. I know you're trying to invite my superiors actually, but it so happens na bubukas lang po ng ating mga face-to-face gatherings or meetings, workshops, and DNR also took advantage of that. So currently, si Yusek Adobo and Director Talabis is in Boracay. Not for leisure time, no, but they're having an interagency meeting, and also we had a high-level policy discussion there. I had to go back yesterday para lang po makapag-prepare po for this workshop. So you have to make do with me again. I think yung last time po sa Cebu, yeah, I was there, naka-participate din ako doon. Although medyo na-prolong yung program, so I had very little time to discuss with you some of the initiatives of LMB. So I think I have the whole day, the rest of the day now. So I'm ready to go until evening kung marami po kayong katanungan. But joke lang po. Alam ko very critical itong oras na to sa atin, and baka mamaya naka-off na yung cam nyo, baka tutulog na kayo ha. Sige po. Pagpasensyaan nyo na rin po yung picture ko. Mukhang galit ako dyan sa na gamit nyo na picture ko. But probably just an intense presentation on that part. And maganda rin po siguro dito sa time na to, no, focus on discussion. I was informed that you had a discussion earlier with LRA last February. And this time with LMB, so you get a complete picture of what's happening in terms of the land administration agencies, which greatly affects din yung ating mga services, activities sa CREBA, real estate developers, and developers themselves. So,
I think that's menu.
okay po.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi. Good afternoon, Chairman Gorayev, sir. Good afternoon po.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you po. Okay.
Meron konting sound.
Yes, yeah.
Coming from us, from CREBA, or from you, sir?
Okay po ba? Can I proceed?
Please, yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm just okay, sharing my slides. Mukhang na yan. Okay, thank you. Okay po, hello again. Can you hear me?
Yes, but
Yes.
sound.
Yes.
Okay po, I'll proceed. Sige po. Sige. You have feedback. Yan. Okay. You have requested some discussion points po from LMB, and so siguro mako-focus tayo rito, but I'd be ready to share something beyond siguro if we have time. No? But we have yung status po ng LMB records after the fire, yung computerization program namin, and our linkage with LRA, the administrative reconstitution, yung you're asking our view on this, no? Very straightforward. Yung progress po natin from LAMP 1. LAMP 1 actually ended in 2012. No? We are trying to extend it, pero hindi na po nagkaroon ng phase 3. No? And then the LMB initiatives to enhance delivery of services under the new normal. So I'll give you a couple of slides on these topics. Yung status po ng LMB records after the fire. Ang totoo po niya na before the fire in 2018, there was already a decentralization program of LMB which started I think in 2014. No, I was back in LMB in 2015, and they were already, and we were already decentralizing records. So per provinces, we were trying to prepare it here and already scan these records so that we can have copies of that, and then pinapadala po yan sa mga field offices. And we were more than 90% complete dun sa activity na yun before the fire came in 2018. So what I'm saying is, hindi naman po entirely lahat ng records. No? Yung naiwan na lang na records sa LMB ang nasunog. And most of these land records were actually captured. So happens na yung aming hard drive is also in LMB. And it was burned. So luckily po mukhang there is a hint na kayang i-recover yung laman sa loob. So we're working with the PNP on this, and we've already given them the requirements, yung tinatawag nilang storage area network. And God willing po, baka within 2 or 3 months time, makita namin kung how much of those that we have encoded have been retrieved, and so we can operate with that strength of digital records. Yun naman pong mga hindi na, meron kasi, ang LMB po kasi meron pa din siyang mga tinatawag naming residual function, no? Specifically in the titling of Taguig area and yung mga prior lands like that. Pero most of the services of titling is already decentralized regional offices. No? So yung aming jurisdiction, we were left with those activities, and of course yung mga land cases na within those areas. No? Kaya medyo hindi naman ganun kalaki or kasubstantial yung records na naapektuhan o nasunog, and ginagawa lang po namin doon sa mga may ongoing applications. So we try to request them for a copy of their application and whatever documents they have, and we validate so that we can accept it and to be used again as a form of part of our records after validation. We cross-check it with existing information that we have captured. So ganito yung reconstruction namin. That would include again yung mga cases na nasa LMB. No? Mostly mga prior lands and some patrimonial properties, cases on patrimonial properties. Now, doon po after the fire, we were able to recover around 1.5 million sheets. No? Yung nasa baba ito ng building, kaya hindi siya inabutan ng sunog, pero nabasa siya. No? About 1.5 million sheets of salvage records. We're currently scanning. We're, I think, done with almost 500 sheets. These are cadastral maps, lot data computations, and application folders. And what we're doing now is after we scan them, we immediately shift them to the respective offices. Kasi ang mga regional offices po namin, I think almost all regions have completed their data capture. Ang naiwan na lang is CAR, Baguio, Region 12, and Region 7. But all of the regions, some have completed, mostly have completed their data capture activities. And some are still in the process of completing the data capture. Naiwan na lang po yan. Next, we already have budget for CAR, Region 12, and Region 7. They will complete the data capture next year. And as a part of our general directions, LMB is looking at an approach of less paper to eventually paperless transactions. So we can wait to see this happen. So are you. Okay po, I'll go to the topics directly, and then have our Q&A time po if ever meron kayo later. So yung LMB computerization, ang status po nito sa ngayon na we begin with the system, yung aming land administration management system, which have been installed in all regional offices, and including yung field offices po namin, yung Penro and Senro. The only problem is yung connectivity. Now, some of our field offices have no strong internet, lalo na yung mga Senros namin. But most of the regional offices are connected, and once they're done with their data capture activities and yung tinatawag namin data cleansing, we will eventually see a complete linked system. LMB with the regional offices, with the central office, and with the other agencies. So around 83% of our records, when I mean sa records po, ito yung mga cadastral maps namin, survey records namin, public land applications, 83% in terms of capture, with about 368 LGUs. Kasi yung records, we're trying to group them geographically per LGUs. Meron kami tinatawag na cleansing activity. So not because we have computerized, we already have a very good records. In fact, what we're seeing now are the problems of the records from the very beginning of DNR or LMB. Once we after capturing them, now we're seeing how, in terms of geographic spread, maraming problema po. Yung mga cadastral maps and the survey plans that we have approved. Yung iba, tumatapon, so probably wrong coordinates, wrong tie line. So we do what we call a data cleansing, DCDB cleansing. DCDB is a digital cadastral database. About 700,000 missing records. Ito yung either na nawala dahil nasunog, nabaha, or iba na nakaw, have been reconstructed through some research and interrogation of information. But yung iba talagang hindi na po makuha. So about 73%. And in terms of linkage with LRA, I'm not sure in the last time I spoke to you, ay nabanggit ko itong aming LRA partnership. But it's proceeding so far in terms of the discussion, but yung importance ng linking is ongoing in terms of testing yung tinatawag nating applications programming interface or yung API. And we hope to complete it by July. Meaning, ang ibig sabihin po nito, yung dalawang system ay nag-uusap na. Kasi meron yan, may mga ganong IT problem, baka hindi mag-meet yung dalawang system. So nagkita na sila, and we're just looking at the processes that we have described or we have agreed, and this would cover yung registration ng patents namin. Saka yung approved survey plans po, and including LRA status certification. So this will be initially covered under the CMC, but we are looking at more linkages. For example, once this is done, yung amin pong patent ay magkakaroon ng yung mga information that LRA or the Registry of Deed captures para i-register yung aming patents will now be transmitted electronically. Very safe naman yung tawag nila, encrypted, and that will fast track po yung pagka-register. In terms of survey plan naman, yung pong mga approved survey plan natin, as you all know, ang mga survey plans, subdivision surveys, approval niya ng DNR kapag complex, no, or regular. And then, tatransmit yan, yung sinesepya po yan, di ba, pinapadala sa LRA. With this linkage, we're looking at, again, these informations na kinakapture sa survey plan namin, including yung mga technical descriptions, will be captured electronically. So wala na yung encoding. Kadalasan doon ang gagaling yung mga errors. And lastly, yung LRA status. Kapag kami nag-apply sa amin ng title, we just want to know, we just want to check, double check that there is no judicial application or title already issued dun sa application. So this will be checked through the system. Mag-uusap na lang po yung ating mga operators on this one. So we hope this will continue. Medyo na-bug down kami because of the pandemic, pero we hope this will be realized this year. So this will be good news for all of us. This will, again, be the beginning point of many other computerization initiatives that will make transactions very efficient, with LRA, between DNR and LRA. I hope I got the correct question here, but yung LMB stance on the Constitution and administrative Constitution and correction titles, we are very much in support, in full support of this initiative or this objective. In fact, way back in the LAMP project, we were already talking to LRA about this. And this is part and parcel of the LARA bill na pinopose natin way back in 2002, because we all know the dilemma we're all in. Parang ang ano nga ng LRA, even sila, walang magawa because of this. I think there were attempts, and in your discussion with LRA, they must have mentioned their initiatives or status ng kanilang initiative to have this administrative correction and the Constitution be given to LRA. And more than that, we were, during the LAMP project, nag-propose pa rin kami ng ilang initiative para maiwasan yung, back then, para maiwasan yung narrative TD, which is most of the time yun ang cause ng mga error sa title. So we propose yung sketch of the parcel, meaning nakita mo yung shape ng parcel mo instead of a narrative TD, because narrative TD is anyway very technical, hindi rin maintindihan ng tao, yung bearings and distances. So mas maintindihan ng tao yung figure, so that's what we propose. But currently we have what we call tabular TD, and the ETD. You probably know by now that yun sa ETD, there's already a area check, Kaya yun na mismong yung bang lumalabas na TD is already checked for errors, kaya naiiwasan yung encoding error. So these are technological initiatives na somehow are overtaking ilang proposals natin. But with the kind of technology that we have now, everyone is seeing the potential of adapting more of this kind. Kaya naniniwala kami na itong partnership na to with LRA will bring a lot of improvements sa ating titling and registration activities. And we are also in our recently this Wednesday in our high-level policy discussion sa DNR, there's a talk about updating the provisions of CA 141 or yung tinatawag natin Commonwealth Act. Ang dami na actually parang piecemeal amendments sa CA 141, so we are looking at updating everything, parang overhaul ito ng CA 141. And we might file a bill by next year for this. And kasama dun sa provisions ng magiging proposed bill na yun would be yung administrative correction, but only as far as DNR is concerned. But if LRA is pushing through with a proposed bill on on administrative correction, so we might marry that. So anyway, talagang yung registration is with them. No? Kaya lang yung attempt ng DNR is just like DAR. Ang DAR kasi, di ba, the Secretary of DAR can cancel yung mga collective flowas. No? Dito, we are proposing na yung DNR can also correct and reconstruct yung mga patents. But that has to be harmonized again with LRA's position. In terms of progress from LAMP 1 and LAMP 2, baka po marami sa atin inabutan itong LAMP projects na to, and they have been involved. I think with partners in terms of proposing the reforms. No? Kaya you are very much interested to know what has happened. Well, out of LAMP came yung ating adoption ng Land Administration and Management System. So this has been our gateway to modernization. And also in 2010 to 2016, no, na pumasok itong ating cadastral survey at na-complete ito. It's not exactly complete in a sense na wala nang sa survey. No? But mostly the political boundary survey has been completed. No? Yung mga cadastral surveys o yung mga public land surveys na wala sa kadastro ay napaloob siya sa cadastral survey. So trying to, of course, to bring all these surveys into one system. And this was completed in 2015 during the previous administration. And well, yung passage of land administration laws, CREBA is very much aware of the RESA. No? This was passed actually during LAMP. And then yung Residential Pre-Patent Act or yung RA 10023, also patapos na yung LAMP ng may pasa po ito. No? But this gave impetus to residential titling of DNR. And we also had the passage of RA 11231, no, yung Agricultural Free Patent Reform Act. Dito tinanggal yung restrictions ng sa mga free patent natin. Pwede mo na siyang ibenta. Basically, yun, that's the key provision. And then yung recently po, yung 11570, kasi yung free patent titling, nag-expire siya. No? So it expired last December 31, 2020, na-expired siya. So we push for the passage of a bill in partnership, of course, with FEF, no, Foundation for Economic Freedom. And last year, we got the bill approved. And we have issued the implementing rules and regulations. So, kumbaga, balik na po yung land titling ng DNR sa agricultural free patent. And this time, wala na siyang expiration. So, meaning, tuloy-tuloy na po yung pagpapatitulo through agricultural free patent. And also yung requirement na 30 years, diba, sa ating agricultural free patent required yung 30-year possession. Natin. It was shortened to 20 years. Meaning yung mga farmers natin with their agricultural lands na they have occupied for 20 years can now apply for free patent instead of the 30-year requirement. So this will now allow yung mga bagong newly released lands, sabi nga natin, from unclassified ay nakaka-classify lang niya into agricultural, and also yung ma-reclassify, say, from forest to agricultural will now be benefited by this law. What else? As I've said earlier, we have introduced computerized approval of survey in DNR. No? We have what we call e-survey. Ito po yung parang application through which the survey returns are submitted to DNR now. We now have tracking in the tracking facility in the system. Yung makita mo kung nasaan yung status ng survey mo. And then yung performance measurement. Meaning, we can now tell the regions, mabagal pa rin kayo mag-approve. In fact, meron pa din talagang gano'n. No? Well, particularly because of the pandemic, marami pa din delays na nangyari. But right now we can tell the regions, oh, but sa dami ng inapruban mo, ganito lang yung na-apruban mo, let's say in 15 days, yung iba 3 months mo yung na-apruban, yung iba more than 3 months mo yung na-apruban. So we have this performance measurement. No? And we are about to complete an enhancement in LAMS which will allow online submission by July, meaning pwede na diretso sa web. So by July of this year. And then yung online payment. In fact, some of our regions are already accepting online payments. Pero hindi pa to yung, shall I say, official na online payments. They're just trying to improvise an online payment system. But there are already talks with some of the facilities. Nagkaroon kami ng meeting. And I think it's possible na magawa namin yan towards this year. Maybe by third quarter, we can have an online payment scheme. So that's good. Yung new surveying technologies that we have adopted, yung GNSS, no, surveyors can now submit their survey returns using GNSS and drones. No. Recently in 2018, nilabas natin itong policy on drones. Meaning what these drones will do is create a digital orthophoto ng lugar, no? And ortho-rectified siya. Kaya pwedeng pag meron ka ng image ng buong area, you can just pick corners, no? Hindi mo na isa-isahin, no? So these are very new technology, no? And we also have 300 plus LGU partners in terms of land titling. So ito yung tinatawag naming LGU partnership in terms of land titling. What we do is we have a MOPA or Memorandum of Partnership Agreement with the LGUs, and some of the LGUs are willing to have their staff, no, LGU staff, permanent staff trained, and they become land investigators. Dumadami yung aming capacity to do titling. And we are actually having a proposal now for a 10-year accelerated titling program starting this year until 2031. And this will be in partnership with LGUs. So we are expecting around more or less 2 million parcels pa for titling, both agricultural and residential. Yung pong ating geoportal, familiar naman kayo with the geoportal of NAMRIA and the DNR1 control map, no? This is ongoing, no? And we are starting to plan spatially. No? Our field offices presents their plans spatially, hindi lang puro textual data yung pinipresent. So we're going towards that direction. And we will also be adapting yung mga tinatawag nating dashboards in terms of performance monitoring and tracking. Well, there's good news about our tiny PODB is that it became drivers for us, to us, in streamlining our processes. We are forced, in a way, to provide this timeline of processes. And yung ating mga activities sa field are already governed by what we call citizen charters, citizens charter, and they have timelines. Kapag hindi po nasusunod ito, ARTA is very active to call our attention. So, in fact, our IVAS will soon be we will soon come up with citizens charter in terms of processing the approval of survey plans. Kapag simple, we're looking at 20 days maximum, and kapag complex, we're looking at 40 days maximum. So we will consult with our regional offices on this one, and we will issue the necessary guidelines. Kasi ngayon yung mga complex, mostly talagang tinignan namin yung performance ng regional offices. Most of the complex surveys are still exceeding the 3 months time frame. So our data is helping us monitor that. Yung LSDF, which is also a product of LAMP, it became our guide on what's next for the land sector in the next 20 years. So this was issued in 2010. So we're more than halfway. And as I've said, these have been the reforms, but there are still major reforms that we want to see in place, pero hindi talaga pa mangyari, no? LARA, for example, or yung Land Administration Reform Bill na creating a single agency for land administration, mukhang the way it is right now, there are still bills being filed on LARA, pero the support that we had back then, no, ay hindi na ganun kalakas. No? Although alternatively with LARA, we now have what we call yung third-party softwares that allows linking of systems. So hindi man magkaroon ng single agency, but at least integrated or linked system. I think that will offer a lot of improvement na rin. Tulad nga yung partnership namin with LRA. No? So yung land sector development framework has been updated to align with our 2040, yung ambition 2040 natin. So yung pong old version nito, you can actually access LMB website. No? It's siguro kaya pong basahin ito ng isang upuan lang, no? But we are updating it, and we will again upload sa aming website yung new version ito once available. There are other activities or developments under LAMP1. No? Yung ating JAW, for example, came in 2012, JAW with NCIP, DAR, and LRA, but it was a problematic JAW, no? Hindi ma-implement because of some problems on the field, and we are currently reviewing that, particularly yung NCIP issues. As you all know, alam niyo naman kapag na-issue ng CADPIS yung isang lugar, kahit forest land yan, kahit AND yan, NCIP is saying na we should stop issuing titles. No? Pero meron kaming pinag-uusapan regarding those positions. LMB initiatives on the new normal. Stay with me. Ito na yata yung last slide. Well, we've actually been on doing a lot of initiatives in terms of technology before the pandemic. We saw the pandemic actually as a catalyst. And that's like what we're having right now. Well, it has its setback, pero napakaganda nitong ganitong way of conducting forums and consultations. Kami nga po, we were able to consult our very field personnel. Dati hindi namin mag-gather, hindi namin sila ma-meet because it's too expensive. No? Kapag dinala mo sila into one venue. But of course, because of the pandemic, we were able to use itong mga online forums and consultation mechanisms such as this one. We also introduced our online requests for records within LMB. No? Although sabi nga namin, maraming records na nire-request, talagang hindi available because the sunog. No? But there is already, our direction is once all records have been captured by the regional offices, then we will integrate it into a centralized database. So this online request, expect more of available access, better access to information once this is fully implemented po. We've also pilot tested yung crowdsourcing sa aming titling activities. Basically, parang ang approach namin dito, we're trying to ask, sino dyan sa inyo ang wala pang titulo? Try to text us, try to inform us. Tapos, we gave them a map, no, online map. They can look at the online map, see where their land is. Because they say, dito kami, wala pa kaming titulo. So, yun nga lang, we tested it during the pandemic, kaya very, very low yung participation. No? But we see a strong potential for crowdsourcing in terms of consultation, in terms of knowing kung saan pa walang titulo, in terms of knowing where people have land problems so that we can respond more efficiently or effectively. We've also started conducting talakayang panlupa. Parang alam niyo naman to, meron kaming Facebook. We set up a Facebook account, and this is actually more of a monthly forum. You know, we identify specific topics, tapos magsasalita yung mga experts invited. We had once with the FEF in joint forum with them. In terms of records information, we are now focusing on what we call data analytics. Yung mga na-encode namin na mga records, I've said, and land survey records and public land application records, we're trying to analyze or starting to analyze them now. And in terms of reporting, we are now using graphs, bar graphs, line graphs, and moving towards dashboards kapag nag-report, so mas madaling maintindihan. And I think this is aligned or in line, of course, with the current trend in terms of managing land information. Very soon, meron na tayong mga IA. We're looking at the use of satellite imagery in terms of monitoring. Alam niyo, meron na po ngayong mga offices that can, or private firms that can give us a satellite image of any land, not just within the Philippines, but any land within the world daily. Meaning they're capable of capturing a satellite image or producing a satellite image of the Earth daily. Ganito naka-powerful ang technology. Dati problem natin ang storage, pero ngayon hindi na siya ganun kalaking problema. And very soon, we're looking at using the satellite image as a monitoring tool. Meaning, for example, sa isang foreshore area, we'll ask for a satellite image ng isang area today, and then we'll ask again next month. And we can compare the difference, whether meron bang nagtayo ng structure, illegal structure, o meron bang ganitong damage. So these are technological advances that we are capitalizing on. As I've said, yung online payment, possible ito by third quarter natin. This will also help you a lot in terms of your transactions, not just with LMB, but also with our land sectors. Okay, I'll leave you with this saying, my favorite one: the future belongs to those who see possibilities before they become obvious, by John Scott. So, salamat po. I do hope you are still with me, and I'm ready to answer siguro yung mga questions. And I have my staff also to assist in documenting kung meron man kayong kailangan.
Nakamute na naman.
Hello? Hello, good afternoon. Engineer Pasis.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay, this is Jo Yumon, and I will moderate the Q&A portion. There are a lot of questions for you to actually answer or address. So if you can keep some of them to actually a minimal reply, then at least we can be able to cover them, no? So the first question is from Reda. So if the area you applied for patent is less than 1,000 square meters, is it automatic residential free patent?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hindi po. We use, of course, the zoning as a means of determining kung yan ay residential or agricultural. The land use...
yeah, yung CLUP ng municipality or locality, is that right?
Yes. And kapag ang residential, meron pa rin siyang tinatawag na thresholds, meaning pagka nasa highly urbanized city ka, you can only avail of residential free patent up to a maximum of 200. Meron siya mga thresholds.
May limitations, may thresholds. Okay. Thank you for that. From Larry Neil Veloso, any update on the... Yeah, this seems to be a question of many, Any update on the moratorium on friar lands titling? Is it going to be lifted soon? And if so, when?
Marunong na ako.
Good news po, our secretary, Jim Sampulna, is actually initiating the discussion to lift all the suspensions in terms of our typing activities. We've had a meeting with him, and we're just finalizing siguro yung mga ilang details of concerns. Kasi yung suspension sa particularly sa prior lands is on 2 points, no? Meaning yung napansin nilang parang irregularities and also in terms of records. But in spite of the funding and initiatives to reconstruct yung records and computerize them, marami talagang walang records. So when he said, sabi niya, can we lift? Kasi sabi namin, partial lifting. Yung merong mga records, pwede na pong i-lift natin yung suspension, secretary. Sabi niya, but can we just lift everything, yung suspension in the entire prior lands? Kasi ang hirap naman, sabi niya, kapag dito lang, tapos pa isa-isa. So sabi lang namin, yes, sir, sabi we can do that. Ang concern namin is for those areas where we do not have records. So baka naman mainipang tao kapag nag-apply sila and we say we will still have to do this, survey that. So I think that's where the discussion is. But is very much wanting to lift the suspension. Not just in prior lands, but in, I think malapit dito yung lungsod Silangan, no? Sa Rizal.
Rizal, yes.
This
San Mateo,
San
Antipolo.
Mateo, very much ano siya.
All right, so it's already on the table. And would you have a target timeline for this?
Alam niyo po, ang siya sabi niya, I will retire pagpasok ng bagong administration. So I want this issued before that. So yun na yun siguro. No?
So that's pretty soon, no?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's hope there, no? Okay, may I remind everyone to please throw your questions at the Q&A box so that we can read them. Masyado pong madami yung chat, so baka hindi na po natin mabasa. So kindly drop them at the Q&A box. Okay, from Daniel Cabana, with the completion of computerization, do you see a lowering of costs in obtaining certified true copies for the public?
Yung sa end po ng DNR, meron kasing policy noon yung then Secretary Pahe na kapag ang cost lang yan is less than 100, sabi niya, let's free that up, no? Libre na natin yan. Pero of course, some might increase, no? But it's not an increase na katulad nung, of course, with due respect to LRA because yung kanila is a BOO process. Sa DNR naman, kapag kung meron ng increase, very minimal po yan. In fact, we have a cost and fees administrative order being approved right now. And the general idea there is once it's computerized, then it should be cheaper in terms of access.
Yes.
Faster
Yes.
and cheaper. Yes.
Yes. All right. At this point, let me just take the opportunity to greet a few people and recognize Attorney Rudy Castillo from CREBA Laguna Chapter. Welcome. Dean Irene De Villa of the University of Batangas in Lipa City is also here. Cebu Land Masters Group is here, represented by Attorney Larry Veloso. We'd like to also welcome from CREBA Pampanga Chapter, Malu Garbes and Alice Crespo. From CREBA Batangas Chapter, Ms. Weni Bico. Also here with us is CREBA Past President, Tita Purita Saliven. Hello po. From Pag-ibig Fund, Mr. Joseph Dilig joins us. From as far as CREBA Cagayan de Oro Chapter, Ms. Gigi Roa. From Soc-Sargent Chapter of CREBA is Mr. Sid Protasio. And at this point, I would also like to acknowledge our CREBA National Directors and Officers who are with us. Chairman Charlie Gorayev. Chairman, are you? Hello po.
Yes, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, and Yeah, now I can see you. President Toti Carino is also here.
Where is he? He's in Washington, isn't he?
He is in Washington, pero pinapa-acknowledge ni Shermin, so I guess he's with us.
Mm.
Our Executive Vice President, Ms. Elsie Chua. From Philinvest, Ms. Venus Mejia. From Ayala Land, Shirley Mazon. And of course, thank you for your presence, Engineer Pasis and team. Okay, so moving forward, are there any also from Danielle? Dami niyang questions. Any future and more exciting developments in terms of digitalization that's directed for your end clients, the public?
Oh, hello, ayan, okay po. The way we're developing the system is there are so many fronts po. No? Ngayon, nakita namin linkage with LRA, and then we're also linking with DAR because DAR is a split project, if you're aware, yung kanilang parcelization ng FLOWAS. And we have been in the process of pilot testing linkage with LGU. What we're looking at LGU is, of course, improving yung quality ng kanilang tax map by providing our layers of cadastral map, no? And vice versa, we also get updated in terms of the tax declarations that they've issued. No? Kasi yung records namin, obviously, hindi na rin siya updated, no, on the ground.
Yeah.
For example, we have a cadastral map, let's say, of 30 years, at ang daming informal subdivisions for which walang approved survey plan, pero meron tax declaration. So we're linking with the LGUs to get everything updated.
All right.
But in terms of public access, we just have to define yung level of access po ng public. No? So far, you can, sa aming, meron na kaming in-introduce na online na PLA ang tawag namin, or processing application. You can see where your applications are kapag in-apply mo siya. No? So yung ganong aspeto, you can monitor where your transactions are. Pero yung internal data, meron din kaming ina-adapt na policy respecting, of course, FOI and the Privacy Act. No? So we're trying to balance that in terms of what the public can access. I hope medyo hindi ko na pick up clearly yung question, but I hope I responded correctly to that.
Yes, I believe that you responded. You addressed this question. Will computerization cover the plottable technical description?
Oh, yes.
Of course.
Yeah. Alam nyo, we all know but once you turn data into digital data, there's just so many things you can do with it. No?
Yeah.
Ang concern lang po namin ngayon talaga is yung tawag namin cleansing, because we have so many surveys that use different, medyo technical po ito, they use different reference systems. Merong local, merong grid. Kaya minsan it gets very messy. So we're trying to cleanse them, bring them into a good parang picture. And then henceforth, all surveys will now be required to use GPS position. So from the current records, we're moving towards what we call a ground accurate maps, meaning yung approved plan, kaya mong i-overlay sa satellite image or Google Earth, and we will see how fit it is. Ganun yung improvement sa gusto nating mangyari.
Okay, there is another question related to that later, but I'll just ask it or throw it when we get there. From Paulo Rodolfo, how is the information in the electronic titles verified? And what is DENR's position if there is an error in the manual title, which was carried over in the e-title?
I think that's part of yung question kanina. No? We believe correction of title, just like what other countries are doing. No? Sabi nga natin, we copied our system, unfortunately, from the American version of torrent system. Pero had we copied the Australian system, yung pagko-correct ng error sa title should have been a work of the executive. Meaning kung may land office tayo, registry of deeds, sila lang magko-correct yan. Of course, kailangan mo lang isang guni sa korte siguro yung where there are changes of land area, no, baka yun pa. But ako nga, panano ko, basta kung changes yan in area dahil because of the computation lang ng gumamit, nag-ship ka ng system, lumaki, lumit yung area, that is still something we should be able to explain and need no court intervention, no? We think this is how it should be done, no? But ang registry office, I mean, ang head office, ang concerned office here is LRA. How much is LRA willing to adopt this kind of reforms? And I think they are, no? Nakita ko noon meron silang nasa direction po ng LRA yan.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
our computerization initiative is trying to avoid, no? Parang meron na tayong checking sa process para wala nang ine-encode na manual. So everything will be printed from the system, and the system checks the entire parcel in terms of closure, in terms of area. So gano'n na po yung ginagawa natin.
Wow, that's medyo onerous, ano, di ba?
Yes po, but that once that's fully installed or in the system, wala na po yan. Parang napaka na. Sorry po, ano ko lang, meron tayong I see meron tayong participants from Pag-ibig.
Yeah.
Because we were informed that yung mga lumang plano or lumang title na may konting error in terms of TD ay minsan na-hold ng Pag-ibig, no? Pinababalik yung nako-correct sa atin. And sabi nga namin, we might need to discuss, sit down with Pag-ibig and together with LRA and try to explain na yung mga simple errors ng pag-encode should not be a cause of concern for Pag-ibig, no? Baka kasi napakahirap sa tao kapag i-correct pa natin yan, no? Lalo pa pag pupunta pa sa korte for so simple an encoding error, no? So we simply need, kung gusto siguro ng baka pwedeng certified copy lang ng that description or technical description from LMB would suffice. And yung pagko-correct dyan, in the ensuing transaction na lang. LRA is already foolproofing yung kanilang system, yung susunod na title na i-issue. Using ETD ng LRA would already eliminate yung mga encoding errors na yun from their end. No? So, and once we are able to link with them, we can be certain mai-eliminate na yan, yung mga na-experience natin ngayon.
Okay, so I hope you heard that, Mr. Joseph Dilig of Pag-ibig. Okay, relative to friar lots, can they already submit titling application from Christina Layao?
Wait lang po, pagka nilabas ni Secretary James Ampul na yung order. No?
Okay, so the public will find out.
Yes po. Yes po.
Okay, may publication yan, definitely, no?
Yes po.
Yes.
Yes po.
Okay. Okay, from Melissa Sandoval, LMB din po ba mag-check kung titled ang land? 1963 deed of sale titled po pero 1983 DOS? Ano yung DOS? Untitled na po siya. Paano po namin check alin ang correct status? Wala din po record sa Registry of Deeds, sa DENR LMB na po with application. I'm sorry, I don't get this.
Yeah, trying to, but the function of yung pag-verify ng ganyan is already decentralized po. So regional offices po ang gumagawa niyan, no?
Okay.
Ang LMB lang papasok lang siya kapag may discrepancy yung records ng DNR. And that's where we investigate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sa local registry to?
Yung sa DNR side po is kung survey information yung kine-check natin, it's the regional office.
Regional.
Kung PLA yan, yung public land application. Kung patent po yan, patent-based yung title na yan, it's the CENRO, yung Community Environment and Natural Resource Office. Or PENRO.
Or PENRO. CENRO or PENRO, depende. Yes. No? Okay, what are the security measures being undertaken when computerization is completed? From Daniel again.
Yeah. Medyo hindi ko po ano yan yung technical side yan, but what I know is yung ating firewall, no, has been the main protection that we have.
Yeah.
And in fact, ito rin yung isang tinitignan with our linkage with LRA kasi nga baka ma-expose yung dalawang system
Yes.
to hacking. So the
Yeah.
firewall is very much being checked to ensure na walang makakapasok o ma-hack yung dalawang systems.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. From Elizabeth Tolentino, if the location plan can't be closed because of problem in technical description, and there's no approved plan in LRA as well as in Bureau of Lands, where else can we get such location plan?
Yung location plan po kasi is not a DNR record. It's a private surveyor's output na gumagawa sa location plan. Although I think ang LRA is providing that services from their end. Sa DNR, hindi nyo nabanggit yung regional office, baka you mean yung Bureau of Plans ay yung regional office namin. But pag worst scenario niyan, if there is no available records, you can even try the local government. Now, kami kapag in our research, we look at the local government records, yung LGU records, pa kami namamansin doon. Pag may nababanggit, minsan kasi ang problema kaya hindi ito ma-research is there's no details. For example, plan number, title number, records number. Sometimes napipick up yun sa LGU. So, minsan doon pa kami nakakuha ng ano. But kung wala talaga, well, sabi nga natin, yung the worst scenario, what we do is yung resurvey. Just survey the property as it is, yung boundaries niya, then ipo-project yan, at may kita kung meron siyang nag-overlap siya into any records. Kung wala naman, kung sinasabi niyo parang ganun din sa LRA, ipo-project din ng LRA yan kung nag-overlap into any of their records para malalaman natin, no? Minsan ganun ang paraan natin. Kung wala naman, then yun nga lang, parang you have, again, to go back to the court, says my property has been surveyed, ito ang result niya. No?
Yeah.
Records are lost, but the court is likely to accept that as a starting point of action.
Medyo tedious pag wala talaga makuha, no?
Yes po, unfortunately talaga.
Okay, from Malu Conchu, if ETDs are being checked for accuracy, what is the recourse if it is found that there is a discrepancy in technical description? Is it administrative or the judicial route?
Again, a while back when LRA started their computerization, nagkaroon kami ng problem because yung system nila is saying na may error of closure yung mga plans approved by DNR, no? But that has been clarified na yung tinatawag naming allowable error of closure kasi hindi perfect yung ating yung surveying natin, system natin, gumagamit tayo na nag-round off siya, no? But na-agree na yun, so sabi ng LRA, okay, we will accept if the DNR approves it, no? And now yung computerized systems only ensures na yung manual side, yung nag-encode, kapag ina-encode ay may eliminate siya. So very yun. But just in case, I think you were saying kung naka-register na, no, pero may mali, no. Currently LRA is saying you have to petition the court for correction. Pero I'm so sure as I've said earlier, they wanted to be able to correct that by themselves, no? Or kung kaming dalawa lang. Sa amin kasi hanapan lang yan ng certified copy ng technical description from DNR. So, and that should be it. No? But at this point, LRA LRA po ang in the best position to tell you whether you need to go to court or that can be corrected at their level.
Okay, so go to LRA first so LRA can advise, no? If they can do it administratively first.
Kapag po naman yung reference sa amin, hanapan kayo ng certified technical description, then we can give you that as basis.
All right, thank you. From Larry Neil Veloso, would you know if there is an initiative in Congress to amend PD 1529, particularly on the possible shift from judicial to administrative lifting of adverse claims and other liens that currently require the filing of petition in court? If there is, what is the status of that initiative?
Couple of years back, I saw that in LRA's parang direction, no? But honestly, hindi ko alam po ang status ngayon kung whether there's been a bill filed. But sabi ko nga kanina, we are looking at the overhauling of CA 141, and what we will do is include that provision na pwedeng i-correct lang ng DNR yung mga any errors in the past, kasi nga those errors may already be prevented in the future because of the technology, but in the past that DNR will be capable of correcting. Parang I don't know how that would legally fit into the bill, pero yun yung nakita namin as an administrative correction and even cancellation of titles.
Okay, so, and I think it also depends on the type of adverse claims, especially if they're really court or really highly judicial in nature,
Kapag adverse claim po, talagang at the moment, talagang korte ang punta mo niyan.
Korte talaga yan. Okay.
Pero yung mga technical errors, corrections, that should be done by administration.
A question kasi niya, engineer, is adverse claims and other liens. Anyway, thank you. Okay, the recent presidential election topic shows us that agriculture is a hot topic with your computerization. How much more land can you see that is good for agriculture? From Daniel Cabana.
Yeah, it's a moving target because meron po tayong ongoing finalization ng tinatawag nating forest line boundary, which will reclassify some lands formerly forest into agricultural lands. So this will become a potential for titling. Based on our records, and this is where we are currently having a very deep analysis. Pag tinignan niyo yung records kasi ng DNR, kami mismo tinignan namin. Supposed to be, if we have, sinabi natin, ito forest land, ito A&D, or agricultural. So pag nagtititulo ka, supposed to be, yung pag ina-add up mo yung natitituluhan mo, that will add up to the total A&D. But our records are saying one way na meron na lang kaming less than 1 million hectares. Pero meron kaming reports coming from the field that says around more than 3 million hectares. So these are areas where we are
malaking reconciliation yun, sir.
Yes po. And one of the reason is there may have been patents or titles issued over forest land, kaya hindi siya nag-add up, And while this is not necessarily an error, meron kasing mga title na issue way before classification, and they appear to be valid. Pero yung mga title na na-issue in spite of classification na tapos in-issue pa din, na-issue pa din siya, then definitely they're subject for reversion.
So if you are to reconcile those, I mean, how long do you think would it take?
Once we have completed po yung aming data capture and yung survey data has been overlaid, yung tinatawag nating spatial analysis, we'll have a grasp of how big is the remaining work. We're saying right now that there's just about 2 million titles or patents that we are going to issue, and in our proposed titling program, if the government budget will allow, meron kaming proposal until 2031 to complete land titling. So
10 years.
Yes po, pero again, as early as this year, we're seeing na mukhang that will be delayed because of the budget problem.
Yeah. So it's major budget intensive.
Yeah, I think initial estimate namin around 12 billion will be needed.
12 B or M?
Billion po, B.
B, wow. Okay. Anyway, if spread over 10 years, kaya na yan, sir. Okay, so will you see in the computerization overlapping of lands when platted?
Yes, it should. Yeah, it should.
As it is, meron naman. Okay, we would like to ito din yata yun. We would like to inquire regarding the status of lifting of moratorium on titling in the areas of Antipolo, San Mateo.
Yes po.
Yeah, ito din po yung Friar lands, covered by EO on Lungsod, Silangan.
Yes po. again, just I'm aware of the request, and again, ang gusto ko pong assure kayo, Secretary Sampul, na is really wanting na yung gawin ito while his term,
while
no?
he's,
while
there.
he's
Okay.
yeah.
Great, thank you. Again, from Larry Neal, ang sisipag nila, reconstitution of destroyed titles are common sources of spurious OCTs and TCTs. Any reforms in this area to ensure the integrity of titles that come out of reconstitution?
Yeah, yung mga kapatid po natin sa Registry of Deeds ang mas sa LRA mas mahusay sa magot diyan. Pero yun nga kasi ang problem din talaga natin nga yung katulad niya nangyari dito sa Quezon City, no, yung nagpunta sa korte nagpa-reconstitute, no.
Yes.
Parang ang sabi nga nung kaibigan ko na Abdi, parang pinwersa through the court na pwersa yung LRA to reconstitute. But eventually, yun na nga, reconstitute mo, nag-overlap ngayon sa existing title. So, bumalik din siya, and eventually na-cancel din yung reconstitute. I think those are the kind of safety measures that the system has. No? But it would have been avoided kung talagang yung computerization is already solid. Ang problem po kasi namin with right now is LRA has their system, they have their spatial data, and DNR has its own spatial data. Dapat kaya ang usapan namin sa amin, can we adopt a common projection? Yun ang nasa table Kasi pagka ganon, at least consistent pag sinabi ng LRA ito, ganon din yung tinuturo namin ng lote, no? But at the moment it's not like that. So we have different projections, kaya dapat ma-harmonize yun. And I think that's where this linkage is eventually heading.
Marami pa po ba tayong cases ng mga reconstituted na nagdo-double claim?
LRA have a complete list. Alam ko nung LAM project, dun mismo sa where in Holy Spirit, napakagandang subdivision. dalawang set of titles meron.
Yes.
But,
sa Barangay Holy Spirit.
Barangay Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right. I've seen those. Anyway, from Miss Shirley Mazon of Ayala. Good afternoon, engineer. Is there also a plan to digitalize requests for survey docs, such as approved survey plans, lot data computation, and CAD maps, as well as online payment for such requests?
Yes po, as I've said earlier, meron na pong ilan yung na-capture na and na-validate na, I think is already accessible to some regions. No, probably it will be good. I can give you a feedback on where that is already available. No, but that's clearly the intention. You can request for it, download it. No, yun lang yung pricing. Yung tanong kanina, yung pricing ba? We're in the process of approving a new cost. Kasi our cost is way back. Before, naalala ko yung mga cost ng records namin, meron pang 3 piso, 3 piso, sabi namin, hindi naman fair, no?
Masyadong mura.
Masyadong mura. So medyo tataas yan, pero hindi naman ganun kataas. But this will be, and payment online, baka po hopefully within this year or third quarter this year, we'll be able to institute that. But that will be a regional case to case. No? Pag ang region will have to deal with their own online payment system.
Okay. All right. So at least we're expecting something soon, no? If it's this year.
Yes,
if I may ask, engineer, yung ba, like for example, si Secretary, pagka ba nagkaroon ng changing of cards, usually how soon from the date of elections?
Well, ang upo kasi nila is of course effective June 30, no, pagka upo ng mga if there has been appointed secretary for the agency, no. And siyempre nagkakaroon niya ng parang briefing and changing of the guards, then internally from the, hopefully walang ganun kasi pagka alam niyo naman ang yung effect nun sa national government kapag merong mga bugalawan sa senior officials.
Exactly.
It goes down to the implementation.
Yeah.
And but our strategy is, again, Director Talabis is already solidifying aming proposal so that if ever there's a new administration coming in, we present our direction. And pag in-approve
Para
naman,
medyo hindi
hindi magkaroon ng gap. No?
mag-gap or mawala sa direction. Yeah. Okay, thank you. From Eduardo de Jesus, is there still a need to exhaust administrative remedies before going to court to amend a TCT? I think this one is or has already been answered, no? To amend a TCT to correct the technical description appearing thereon, to, let's say, remove road from the technical description. Yeah, na-address na natin to, no?
These are just encoding errors. Yeah, I'm not sure right now whether LRA has an alternative. These are just encoding errors. As I've said, we believe that should be outrightly corrected administratively. No?
Right.
Pero pagka an error ito in terms of boundary, parang nilagay si ganitong lote, tapos nagkaroon ng claim or or problem, anything beyond the technical, yun na yung pupunta ka sa
sa judicial, sa courts. Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon from Rosella Gomez. What are the rulings entitling a portion of lot A and B fronting a mangrove area residential free patent application?
It's a question of yung po bang adjacent lot or yung parang yung to which this mangrove is attached. Is that a forest land or an agricultural land? Kapag forest land yan, obviously hindi pwedeng matituluhan. Kapag agricultural na land naman yan, or itatawag natin A and B, then you just have to apply the easement rules. No? After yung tinatawag na foreshore part, no? Yung meaning yung nalulubog at lumulutang na portion ng, hindi ko alam kung nababanggit niyo po ay dagat or what. No? Pero kung ganun yan, then you apply the easement rules. No? Which is for agricultural lands is 20 meters. Then yung portion na yon is already open for titling. Kapag naman na urban area yan, and that easement is reduced to 33 meters. No? Of course, unless merong city ordinance na nag-impose ng much wider easement. No? So 3-meter easement, then part of the title, pwede nang apply yan.
And then I remember you mentioned it depends on the zoning, no?
Yes, of course. Yes, ma'am. Dapat zoned residential yun.
Dapat zoned residential siya. Yes. Yeah. Kasi ang gusto niya is residential free patent. No? Okay. Again, from Larry Neal, we are currently doing due diligence on titles that were judicially issued over an area that per Senro's record is classified as timberland. While NAMRIA has a copy of land classification map that clearly classifies the area as timberland long after these titles were issued, meaning the titles came earlier, Senro is refusing to issue an A&D certification. Which classification then must prevail? The titles agricultural or the land classification map timberland? If Senro insists that it is timberland, where do we appeal the decision?
Yun po ano, there are, I mean, yung kasing the general concept is hindi pwedeng matituluhan ng timberland. So that's where we start. No? The exceptions are if the title was issued before the classification. No? Kasi yung land classification came in mga 1920s yan pataas And yung pagka-classify took time. No? So ang premise po kasi noon, no, kung natituluan siya sa korte, that decision carries with it yung tinatawag nating classification aspect. Meaning pag tinituluan ng korte yan noon. Pero nung nagkaroon ng requirement ng classification, required na ng isang application before matituluan is ma-certify as within the A&D. No? So ganun ang niya. Kaya meron tayong issue na title, lalo na yung judicial title, Quezon City is a classic case. No? May titulo na to before classification, kaya nagkaroon kami ng problem internally. Our forest director saying, ano pa yan, based on LC, forest ang LMB, pero dahil may title na issued way back, na respect yun. No? So, ganun din sa ibang lugar. No? Meron pa nga tayo yung forest land siya, pero it was erroneously classified as A&D way back. No? And then, na-issue ng patent. No? Sabi ng PD 705, pagka ganon, the patent has to be respected. Kahit dapat ibabalik mo siya sa timber, pero kung may title na, you have to respect that. That's I think what the law is saying. So these provisions will govern yung ano. Kung yung meron kayong, kunyari yung senator namin is saying na hindi namin pwedeng issue yan because of ano, and then that must be appealed sa regional office, no? That's the closest office, yung supervising regional office, and hopefully doon naman ma-address siya. Otherwise we come in, no? We come in sa LMB kapag may ganong question. Lalo na if it involves policy or function ng field office in terms of land administration. Pero baka naman po ano lang, hopefully clarification lang, no? Doon sa aming field office. Alam naman ng marami yan, yung ganyang sitwasyon.
Okay. Attorney, baka gusto mo mag-sip muna ng water. Bigyan kita ng little rest while I recognize other attendees. Would like to recognize Director of International Affairs, Evangeline Iya. Also Voltaire Rosario of our Caraga chapter. Okay na po ba tayo? Medyo nakainom na tayo.
Saka surveyor ako, ma'am. Hindi pa ako lawyer.
Ay, bakit puro attorney ang tawag sa'yo ng mga tao? Mukha ka kasing lawyer.
Hindi po, surveyor
You
po
actually
ako.
speak better than many lawyers.
Engineer.
Engineer, okay,
Yes,
sorry. How do we deal with properties within the area of Proclamation 573 from Chris Garrido?
Ano po ba yung 573? Sorry po .
Chris, ano daw ba yung 573?
Oh,
Forest land. Forest land daw po.
Okay, sorry po. Sorry ma'am, can you read again yung question
How
mo?
do we deal with properties within the area of Proclamation 573 which covers forest land used as residential, like DRT case in Bulacan? Kasi marami nga palang forest land sa DRT sa Bulacan na medyo...
I do not know the specifics, pero ang ruling naman dyan, kapag pinoclaim siya as residential, I'm actually medyo ko dun sa specific case, baka there might be details on that, you know.
Yeah.
But the classification and parang it appears to me it's an issue of a question between the proclamation and the classification. So kung ganun ang case, I'm sorry, I might need to go into the details kasi
Okay.
as a classification hindi talaga pwede, no? Unless the proclamation was issued before 1987 Constitution kung saan may power pa yung president to reclassify, no? Kung ni-reclassify siya ng proclamation ng president, then that should be valid as proclaimed kung residential siya pinoclaim. Pero after the 1987 Constitution, hindi na pwedeng mag-reclassify ang president. So it's already the Congress. So yun ang ganun ang mga prevailing laws that will guide the decision on that area po.
Okay, so, okay, I got a message here. 1969 proclamation pa daw to, covering permanent forests in Nueva Ecija, Nueva Vizcaya, Bontoc, Cagayan, Bulacan, Pangasinan, Quezon, Laguna, Camarines Sur, and Iloilo.
Kaya tayong, tama ba ako? Hindi ba ito yung mga tinatawag nilang KKK areas? But sorry po, no? But ganun po ang ganun lang. Well, at least my understanding, may mga lawyers tayo rito, no, na Before, the president, no, sometimes through the DNR secretary, classifies land. No? Tapos pag gusto niya i-classify, mag-i-issue siya ng, again, amending proclamation, reclassifying the land. No? Pero let's say, from forest to agricultural or A&D, and even vice versa. No? Pero no, after the 1987 Constitution, when the 1987 Constitution was adopted, Congress na po, pag magre-reclassify ka from one classification to another, is Congress na po ang gagawa niyan. Pero kung unclassified yan, at first time pa lang siya i-classify, yan, the President, sometimes to the Secretary, proclaim such act.
Okay, so in spite of its current actual use and CLUP, kailangan pa rin niyang sinasabi ninyong ano?
Opo, hindi siya yung kasing
hindi siya locally decided, no?
Yeah. Yung zoning only applies kapag ano siya, kumbaga agricultural na siya in nature, no? Parang sometimes, kasi alam naman natin yan, sometimes nagiging ano yan, issue yan, let's say yung pagre-reclassify or pagko-convert, no, between LGUs and say DAR, no, for example.
Yeah.
So yung tawag natin ngayon dyan kasi subclassification na siya, because the classification is only agricultural under the Constitution. Pag hindi forest, timberland, protected area, agricultural. Yung zoning. Yeah.
Yeah. Pagka A&D na siya, no?
So parang nag-aaway daw yung 573 and other presidential decrees.
And other PDs, yeah. Okay. So what is from Kenley? Tan, what is the timeline for implementation for drones and GNSS?
We already have a policy issued. We're just siguro kung meron man capacity building, no, in terms of the users of this technology at yung pag-verify ng field offices namin. But the policy is already in place.
Okay.
Yung drone, under the split project of DAR, we will be capacitating our regional offices to approve this. Medyo nag-delay lang yung split, but it's supposed to be this year yan, but medyo nag-delay yung split. So, but other surveyors can now submit, no, an output using drones. Baka lang tama kayo, baka lang yung aming field offices or regional offices needs guidance on how outputs from this technology is processed. So yeah, definitely.
Meron na po ba kayong approved outputs that have been generated from drones and GSSS? Yeah.
Yung sa drones, we have a pilot case in, I think, in Region 13, no? Caraga, and Region 5, hindi ko nagkakamali, Region 5. But this needs to be scaled up dun to other regions para
Okay, so meron na. Capacity building na lang. Yeah.
Yeah po. Nagkaroon lang kasi ng ng issue technically dahil i-register mo dapat yung drone dahil you're using it as a surveying instrument. Walang site for testing, pero for that reason sabi namin we will allow the use of drones kahit wala pang site testing yung registration ng mga drones. So parang we're operating under a situation na allowing or very relaxed yung ating policy when it comes to that.
Okay. So wala tayong red tape pagdating dyan.
Yan ang mga iniiwasan natin as much as possible, yung merong point of delay or point of discretion to accept or not, para yun nga po, maiwasan yan.
Great. Okay, that's good news. Thank you, sir. From Alan Aban, from application for titling an untitled land to completion of title release, may we know your time frame and how much will it cost? Will this be done by LMB, LRA, or by private surveyors?
Medyo broad yung question, ma'am. Meron din wala ko sa survey o sa titling. No? But ang titling po namin, both our residential and agricultural free patent is now covered by law na hindi pwedeng tumagal more than 120 days. So pag final mo yan, yung
4
application mo, maximum of 4 months, dapat lumabas yan sa amin. And that is already being monitored. No? Nasa Citizens Charter namin yan. Except of course, kapag merong nag-file ng case or may adverse claim no, dun sa lupa mo, then the time stop, the clock stops no, until the case has been resolved. Yun namang depende sa kayong tanong nyo kanina, depende yan kung papailan niya sa korte. Pag sa amin, we're in control of the time frame. Pero pag sa korte, medyo hindi natin control yan sa judicial application. Tapos, yun pa, kung isa-subdivide pa yan before yung kunyari, ina-applyan mo, kailangan pa palang hatiin, then we have to factor in yung approval ng survey. So more or less, sabi ko nga, at the rate right now, it takes 3 months. So medyo gano'n ang tinitingnan
So
natin.
3 months from the time that, from
The
what
survey
point? The survey,
kunyari, sinurvey siya, no? Yung current, again, yung survey niyan is, depende ka lang kung, kung how big is the survey. No? Kung simple lang yan, sabi ka namin, on the average, meron kaming minomonitor namin yung performance ng region, may na-approve sila within 15 days. No? But yung siguro may konting issues or problems, tumatagal up to 60 days. No? So, pagka-complex nga lang, I suppose that's not complex naman. So, mabilis yan. Then, pag na-approve yun, at final mo yung application mo, kung sa DNR ka mag-apply ng patent, no, whether agricultural or residential, doon ka mag-apply sa DNR, maximum of 120 days lang po na-approve yan. 125 pala kasi plus 5 days yung signing ng signing ng PENRO.
okay. So I hope that you're able to really strictly abide by your deadline, and I believe you are, no? Thank you. From Estelita Patdu, we bought a property and it is by tax declaration. Upon survey, most of the part of the land sold is mountainous. The lot area is more than 12 hectares. The surveyor said it is more than 150 meters above sea level. There's no improvement in the area and no fruit-bearing trees. Question, is it exempted from securing DAR clearance?
No.
Again, medyo, di ko alam kung ano yung
Medyo DAR issue to.
You're asking several issues po.
Yeah, no, the property was bought by tax declaration, hindi siya titled. It is mountainous with a height of with an area of 12 hectares and height of 150 meters above sea level. No improvements, no fruit-bearing trees. So is this exempted from securing DAR clearance?
Again, those are two different questions. Yung one is simple. You seem to be asking kung ito ay agricultural or forest. Na kasi mountainous, gano'n. So the best thing to do is survey it, project it. Pag bumagsak siya sa timberland, definitely walang titling activity na pwede mangyari. But just in case, kahit pa mountainous siya pero tapos mataas siya pero plain siya, and the classification results nasa agricultural siya or AND siya, then it can be titled. Ang question nyo kanina naman yung can be exempted from DAR. Kung agricultural siya,
hindi.
You're asking exempt because you want to use it for residential purposes or for other purposes, no?
Yeah.
Definitely kailangan mo ng clearance from DAR, no? Tapos yung kung 12 hectares yan, which is actually more than 12 hectares, then hindi mo na pwedeng applyan the entire land, no? Dahil we are only allowed maximum of 12 hectares. In fact, under the agrarian reform law, ni-reduce yan into 5 hectares.
5, yes.
So those are things that you need to deal with kapag yung mga provisions ng batas natin.
Okay, I hope that addresses your query, Ms. Patdu. From Josephine Celajes, if the property is mineral in use as per tax declaration, and the owner is a corporation, but it surrounds already, it is It is already surrounded by some subdivision projects. Can it be sold to another company?
Why not?
Mineral ba? Mineral, yeah. Okay.
Mineral land.
It used to be, ang aming MGB says once na yun daw mineral as a classification is hindi siya permanent kasi after you've extracted the minerals then wala na, no? Parang ganun.
Yes.
I'm thinking if you're referring to a previous
Mineral land.
mining area, no, na wala na siyang mining activity ngayon, no, at yung paligid ganun na. Not so sure of this, pero I think it still has to be reclassified or cleared from the MGB, no. And pero kung naman yung general land classification niya nasa AND siya, no. Wala namang problem doon. Kung parang may short mining activity lang, no, na ginawa. Sabi nga kasi yung classification sa mineral land is a temporary classification, sabi ng aming mga taga.
So what they can do is they can apply first for a change in classification from mineral to either agricultural or whatever.
Agricultural, no?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how I see the process right now.
Yes.
Pero
Because I
sinasabi
think
niya
the
kasi,
intention, yeah.
and I'm not sure in saying that yung paligid ay subdivision
Yeah,
na.
so I think the intention is subdivision then, no? So
Yeah.
dadaan pa rin sa prosesong i-determine talaga kung babagsak yan depending on the classification, and kung babagsak yan sa agricultural then magdadar ulit. Tama?
Opo. I think those questions need more details para magkaroon tayo ng
Yes, very general masyado. Thank you. Okay. Sorry ha, medyo. Oh, from Vitus. From Vitus Cruz. Hello, Vitus. Are American and Spanish titles still valid?
I don't know kung may nag-exist pa ngayon, but there was a time, I think I'm not so sure of that year, parang 1970s yun, when meron yatang presidential decree na requiring all of these to be converted to or registered with torrent system. So pagka hindi mo na-register, then wala na siya, hindi na siya valid. Merong period na yun na nag-expire sometime in 1970 or 1980. So wala na siyang, kung ganun pa hawak mo ngayon, wala na yan, hindi na yan valid.
Naku, yeah, may hinawakan akong binibentang property, American title. So when you say hindi na valid, kanino pupunta yung ownership noon? If
it, so, kasi again may mga nangyari or issuances transactions that prevailed or covered that property, no. Pero ang nagiging issue kasi, no, for example, yung mga Spanish titles na pilit nilang ginagamit to claim yung kanilang buong Pilipinas. Meron pa po ng buong Pilipinas, or yung mga claims nung ang classic dyan is I think ano nga ba to, yung Don Gracio de San Pedro ba yan? Wala no. But depende po sa case yan kung na-invalidate yan and there are new applicants, new dwellers, definitely sa kanila mag-emanate yung rights to apply, no. But ang dami pong cases na ganyan Ang dami pong different cases na may problem tayo sa ganyan. Lalo pa kung talaga na issue na kasi
so
ngayon,
you're saying
yung pong American title, meron baka naman ano lang yung title baka naman kumbaga merong mga versions tayo ng title, but not necessarily American issued siya, no. So we just need to check yung details nung nabanggit niyo ma'am na case niyo na inawakan niyo. The best thing to do there is get a certification from the Registry of Deeds. Pagkayang over that, whether that title is existing or not. That's the best way or the first step pagka meron kayong nahawakan na ganitong titles.
Interesting idea. Okay. Now, kasi as developers or brokers, all in the real estate industry, should we be careful with specifically Spanish titles? Marami yan na malalaki, no? The first step for verification is the Registry of Deeds. Tama po ba?
Yes, yes po.
But is Registry of Deeds aware that there was a prescription period for these titles?
Opo, historically, yeah, there was a time na hindi ko lang exactly ma-point out ano yung decree. Was it a decree or a presidential issuance in the time of President Marcos, no? Na parang nabigay siya ng deadline in registering yung mga Spanish titles. I do not really recall kung kasama dun yung mga American titles, but the instruction is they have them registered sa torrent system. So pagka merong time na nag-expire, in fact yun ang case ng yung Don Engracia de San Pedro, nag-expire na yung Spanish title na yun na i-register sa torrent system. I do not know exactly po the case kasi wala na akong ganong nababalitaan yan ngayon. But always the first step is to check whether the title is registered in the torrent system.
Okay, thank you. We only have 10 minutes, Charmaine, and there's still a long list of questions. Engineer, we will need the help of your staff in addressing these questions. Can we probably, for those that we are not able to address, can we hopefully look forward to a reply by email to our secretariat so that we can farm this out to our attendees this afternoon?
As much as na ano po namin, if you can give us a list, no?
Yeah.
But bigyan nyo rin din po kami ng time siguro to respond.
Yes.
No? But I hope not specifics, no? Kasi specific issues need specific details too. Baka hindi rin namin siya masagot. But we will respond to some general question about policy or about processes. No? Pero pag specific po kasi, alam niyo naman po, di ba? Parang it will require specific information.
Okay, thank you, Engineer. I am just browsing through the questions, hopefully to find something that is worth addressing at this time. Kasi yung mga iba, informational na lang, no? Like Region 7 has already gotten copies. Ito, pwede nang sagutin ng staff po ninyo, no?
Ayan, no? Meron sagot na yung iba. PD 892 daw
Yeah,
yung registration of Spanish title.
Madali nang
Thank you
sagutin
po.
to mga iba eh. Also, separate and all returns. Okay. Is LMB still located on the same building in Binondo?
Hindi na po.
Yeah,
Dito kami
maybe-
sa
Yeah.
Quezon Avenue.
Okay, maybe you can take this opportunity to advise us all where we can go and contact details and email.
Yes po. So, baka somebody from my staff will just type yung address namin.
Yes, okay. So guys, to our attendees, the staff of Engineer Pasis will type in the address, phone number, and
But it's
email address.
880, no, yung S2R building dito sa Quezon Avenue. Malapit lang po kami sa Fisher Mall. That's nearest landmark.
Okay, this one is interesting. Do we have a database of monuments that's visually attached to Google Maps? And is it for public consumption? From Daniel Cabana again.
Opo, wala po tayong naka-attach. Meron tayong database and you can request sa LMB. In fact, itong database na to, meron ng may mga private sector na, na meron sila nito. But you can
Naunahan
request, no? Pero hindi pa po naka-attach sa Google Map because yung reference system, Google Map kasi is in WGS yata yan, kung daw nakakamali, yung kanyang system, reference system. So, mayroong konti kang transformation na kailangan gawin before you get these coordinates aligned with the reference system ng Google Map. Medyo mayroong konting surveying technical process.
Okay, there used to be separate records of owners and owner transfer history. Index cards versus primary entry book. Will this still be maintained? If not, should PD 1529 be amended?
Hindi ko alam kung there is specific reference to this, but ang purpose kasi ng mga yung mga index cards and all this is already being replaced by the technology. No? In terms of, di ba tayo, parang yung index card, parang maski nasa library, kanya tayo, catalog,
Yeah.
parang you can access the book in different ways. No? But once we now have captured all these applications and records sa ating system, then basically yung index cards and ating mga paper logs or traces is not anymore necessary. So
Will have no use anymore.
we'll have no use anymore.
Okay, so what do you do with those? Talagang bin na talaga yung mga yon.
But they have been just the same po. They have been scanned. No, we're just looking at the possibility of retrieving this information dun sa hard drive na pinaayos namin sa PNA, no, PNP, and then we will be able to have a copy of that. Ano lang namin siya, pang-check lang namin siya kapag nagkaroon ng problem dun sa records encoding. Kasi yung computerization has that problem, of course, of garbage in, garbage out. Baka mamaya dayain dun sa records. So we'll have that as a check.
Okay.
Pa-check lang siya. Yeah.
So kailangan nyo rin ng warehouse for that.
But as per direction po, we're moving towards paperless. So
Yeah.
eventually,
Okay, hindi na rin. Eventually.
all hard copies are decentralized to the regions, and we're looking forward dun sa once this scanned copies is already allowed as a basis reference. For example, may court cases, pwede na ba siya? Kasi ngayon, ang sinasabi sa amin sa field, the court would still want to see the hard copies of pinapakita nila. Pero once allowed na yung electronic copy, supposed to be may batas na daw, pero hindi ako ganun kalina, may nahanapan pa din. And then we see eventually we'll send them to the archives or baka pwede silang unti-unting i-dispose.
Yeah. Okay. Last question from Leo Maratas. I think he's a surveyor. In conducting an original survey intended for a port zone delineation and subsequently for a presidential proclamation or executive order, required ba ang survey authority?
Port zone. I think required siya because you're talking, ang context po kasi ng survey authority is pagka public land pa yan. It's always required. So if that is yung binabanggit nyo na area is part of the ANB, then the survey authority is required.
Okay. So anyway, I will end that. It's already what? 4:05. We'd like to thank you very much, Engineer Pasis, for accommodating us and for articulately addressing all our questions. with a lot of patience and very detailed answers. At this, thank you very much again
My
to
pleasure
you
po.
and your team. And we wish you more power, and we thank you for all the efforts, for all the new directions, for actually trying to cope with the trends, no, the current trends of digitalization for easier access for everyone. Um, at this point, I would like to request our chairman, Charlie Gorayev, for your final words before we end our meeting officially.
You're mute.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Uh, on behalf of our president, I hope he's listening. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me, all of you?
Yes,
yes
we
po.
can.
Yes po.
We can,
Okay,
Chairman.
very good. For saying, I hope our president is listening at this time of early morning in Washington because he's there attending the NAR board meeting in Washington. Because as we all know, he was appointed as member of the board of NAR, or National Association of Realtors of the United States. Anyway, going back to our forum, this is perhaps a good opportunity for us to make this forum as a starting point for the incoming 19 Congress. As the engineer has mentioned a while ago, there are three pieces of legislation, I believe, in the 16th, 17th, and 18th Congress filed regarding land. And Charmaine, this can be part of our, one of our components of the 5-point agenda, which is land. These pieces of legislation include, one, the single agency that will be mandated to issue title. That's, I think, is LARA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The other bill is about a single land valuation agency. This is very important for market value evaluation, assessment, etc. Because right now, there is no official or formal agency or any, whether private or government, that really is the one that can only issue valuation of land. So that is one piece of legislation filed as early as 16th Congress, if I'm not mistaken. That will be second. And the third bill is about this administrative title correction or whatever. So, Charmaine, let's find a friendly legislator after May 9 election, and perhaps we can prepare the bill. If DNR would be so kind to join us in this effort, we will welcome them anytime. And having said that, I would like to express our thanks to engineer. As usual, he is ready and he has to come back to Manila just to be with us today. And for that alone, we are very thankful, engineer. On behalf of our president, who is now busy in Washington, we would like to thank you and express our appreciation for today's forum, which I believe has been very educational and informative to our members. Joe, thank you very much. And thank you to Abe, to Charmaine, and to our EBP, Miss Chua, and who else? The organizer, si Banji of this forum. And thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. You still
Thank you,
look
sir.
beautiful, Joe, after this pandemic.
Thank you, sir.
Second. Thank you, engineer. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you to all our attendees this afternoon. I hope that we had a lot of takeaways, a lot of learnings. We will see you again in our next CREBA Forum. So with that, we bid you good afternoon and happy weekend, everyone.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Colin. Nasaan?